glances, accompanied by tales of the handful of humans who had affinites to certain elements. Monsters, who could do great things with their powers. Wield fire, hurl lightning, ride wind, shape flesh. And then there were some, it was rumored, whose powers extended beyond the physical. Powers that no mortal being should have. Powers that belonged either to the deities or to the demons. The guard was smiling at her, perhaps to be friendly, perhaps wondering what a girl like her, clad in furs and velvet gloves, worn, though clearly once luxurious, was doing in this prison. He would not be smiling at her if he knew what she was, who she was. Her world sharpened into harsh focus around her, and for the first time since she'd stepped into the prison, she studied the guard. Cerulean imperial insignia, the face of a roaring white tiger, carved proudly upon his black stone-enforced breastplate. Sword at his hip, sharpened so that the edges sliced into thin air, made of the same material as his armor, a half-metallic, half-black stone alloy, impervious to affinite manipulation. And finally, her gaze settled on the vial of green-tinged liquid that dangled from his belt buckle, its tip curved like the fang of a snake. Desvoshk, or deity's water, the only poison known to subdue an affinity. She had stepped, once again, into the fabric of her nightmares. Dungeons carved of cold darker than night blackstone, and the bone-white smile of her caretaker as he forced spice-tinged desvoshk down her throat to purge the monstrosity she'd been born with. A monstrosity, even in Affinite's terms. Monster. Beneath her gloves, her palms were slick with sweat.
"We have a good selection of employment contracts up for sale, Mayadama."
The guard's voice seemed very far away.
"With the amount of money you've offered to see Quicktongue, you'd be better off signing 1 or 2 Affinites. They're not here for any serious crimes, if that's your concern. Just foreigners without documents. They make for cheap labor."
Her heart stammered. She'd heard of this corruption. Foreign Affinites lured to Cerulia with promises of work, only to find themselves at the traffickers' mercy when they arrived. She'd even heard whispers of guards and soldiers across the empire falling into the pockets of the Affinite brokers, gold leaves flowing into their pockets like water. Anna had just never expected to meet one. She tried to keep her voice steady as she replied. "No, thank you." She had to get out of this prison as fast as possible. It was all that she could do to keep planting one foot ahead of the other, to keep her back straight and chin high as she had been taught. As always, in the blind mist of her fear, she turned her thoughts to her brother. Luca would be brave. He would do this for her. And she had to do this for him. The dungeons, the guard, the whispers, and the memories they brought back. She'd endure it all, and endure it 100 times over, if it meant she could see Luca again. Her heart ached as she thought of him, but her grief was an endless black hole. It wouldn't do to sink into it now. Not when she was so close to finding the one man who could help her clear her name.
"Ramson Quicktongue,"
barked the guard, drawing to a stop outside a cell.
"Someone here to collect."
A jangle of keys. The cell door swung open with a reluctant screech. The guard turned to her, raising his torch, and she saw his eyes pass over her hood again.
"He's inside. I'll be here. Give me a shout once you're ready to be led back out."
Drawing a sharp breath to summon her courage, Anna threw back her shoulders and stepped into the cell. The rancid smell of vomit hit her, along with the stench of human excrement and sweat. In the farthest corner of the cell, a figure slumped against the grime-covered wall. His shirt and breeches were torn and bloody, his wrists chafed from the manacles that locked him to the wall. All she could see was matted brown hair until he raised his head, revealing a beard covering half of his face, filthy with bits of food and grime. This was the criminal mastermind whose name she'd forced from the lips of almost a dozen convicts and crooks.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.